Welcome in, Jeremiah Sirles returns to the show. I don't know, 10th edition of Jeremiah Sirles.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Stoked to have this guy. Always a great podcast. Sometimes, Jay, when I'm sitting around and we got one of these lined up, especially if it's with a guy I don't know, which is most of them now because we've interviewed most of our teammates that we have contact with and are willing to do it 6 years in. I'm like, man, is this going to be one of those where I'm going to have to pull teeth and like,
Dude, I know the feeling.
And it's like, it doesn't make me excited, but when I have Jeremiah Sirles on the schedule, I get stoked.
I love it.
So I'm excited to just talk life. Sirles came in hot. If you're not watching the YouTube edition, if you are, give us a like for the tank top.
Thank you. Dude, it's beautiful weather. I don't know what it's like in Iowa. It was 89 degrees to here today. We had the family over for Mother's Day. We grilled out, had chicken, burgers, kids everywhere. I got to get this Midwestern winter whiteness out, dude. It's got to go. It's it's so gross.
I agree. Mowed the lawn on Friday, had the tank top out, cut off.
I go shirtless, dude. If I'm mowing the lawn, I let the flubbers out. I go pop tops.
I agree. First couple times it's a little dicey though. I also I have a little bit of PTSD. The bald head. I like to keep that thing just under wraps. Never let this thing see sun.
You're the guy that just like with sunscreen when you go to the pool and you're just like wax on, wax off.
No.
Head.
Bucket hat 100% of the time.
Ooh, I like it.
Bucket hat 100% of the time. Kevin, welcome to the show.
You're just really getting into your strength coach era. You know, bucket hat was a strong move out of the strength staff.
Oh yeah. The folded script in the shorts.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No pockets. It just folded like a hot dog style and then hamburger style and then stuffed into the shorts, so it just kind of dangles around.
T-shirts tucked into the shorts for sure.
It's got to be ready at any moment to rip out and smack against your hand when you're pissed off.
My counting of reps on tempo reps is just drastically decreased. It's a 5-second count now is 1, 2. 3.
Oh, get your dad.
Get down.
4.
5.
Hold it.
It's like, brother, I just did a 17-second pause.
Good. All right, one more.
No, Kev, welcome to the show. Gonna be a fun one tonight. You mentioned you had the family over. We're recording us on Mother's Day. Is that stressful? Are you past that where you're like, I'm not worried. I got the grill process down. I know this meat will be just tender and juicy.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Well, it wasn't anything like I was stressed on Easter because I did a brisket. Right, like today was just chicken and burgers. Like that's pretty hard to screw up. Like you got to be.
Did you wake up on Easter morning to get that brisket?
I put it on at 11 p.m. the night before.
Wow.
Right, so I did 11 p.m. the night before, and the stressful part was I had to work church the whole morning. So I'm on the sound team for church, so I do the 1s and the 2s in the back, and so I had to be there. We had 3 services, so I had to be there from 6:30 to like 1, and so I had to like leave it all to the wife. Right, because at that point, it was like, okay, you got to pull it, wrap it, drizzle the stuff, get the meat thermometer back in, make sure it's wrapped tight, like put it back on, and now you got to babysit it, right? You got to watch it. You can't let it get too hot, and so I was just super stressed out. It turned out all right. It wasn't my best, right? But no, anytime I do a brisket for like a big group of people, I always get super stressed because like, dude, this sucks. There's nothing to eat.
Brisket's easy to mess up too. It's a tough smoke.
Yeah. I was Kevin's in his meat smoking era as well. I was starting to get a little bit moist as you described that because you said pull it, wrap it, and drizzle. Yes. I was like, what are we talking about here? Have we switched conversations? I'm not sure.
I love it. Good brisket's hard to beat though. When you do one right, the problem is you smoke it for like 19 hours and it's gone in like 20 minutes. Like,
well, one time I did a full brisket just for myself one time, and it lasted about a week and a half.
There you go.
And that was breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single day.
Every day.
Crack some eggs over it, make a sandwich for lunch, and then just straight up for dinner.
Dude, brisket and eggs the following morning is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
How you been, Sirles?
Good, man. Stress. I mean, the first 4 months of the year, as you guys know, like is non-existent for me. I mean, it was just a full sprint all the way to the draft, but it was good. Weird draft, but we had 8 clients at the agency. I specifically had 5 linemen as the main point of contact for. I had 1 drafted, our boy Mason Richmond, go Hawks, right? Going to Seattle there in the 7th round, and then I had the 4 other guys sign PFA deals. I had one guy that was supposed to be a mid-rounder, Logan Brown out of Kansas, ended up falling all the way out of the draft. But it was just a strange draft for all of us in the business. Everyone was just kind of like, what is happening? Because it was just so many bodies, man. Like, it was just the largest draft class in history. So I'm glad all that COVID nonsense is behind us and we're back to regular scheduled programming here.
So was this like the backlog kind of coming to fruition of the
it was the final 6th year guys, right? It was the final true 6th year guys, and then it was all the 5th year guys that didn't have a 6th year, right? So those true 5th year seniors. Then it's been a record number of true juniors and seniors that have declared every single year. So I think the number was close to 1,400 kids in this year's draft class.
For
right?
200 and what is it?
254 draft slots. Yeah. And I mean,
yikes.
In reality, there's really only, I would say, 20 spots on each team, right? And that's being pretty generous, right? And talking about 6 draft picks plus another 14 undrafted guys. I mean, the numbers were just not there. And O-linemen this year got pushed way down in the draft. I mean, only 33 O-linemen drafted this year. Usually the number's closer to 50 to 55. So just, again, record number of corners, record number of D linemen and edge guys. That was just such a defensive heavy draft this year.
You think it's because there was much deeper talent level at those positions than normal, just because of the double up?
I think there was just more deeper talent level at those. I think that the O-line class wasn't great, right? You know, and when you don't have a great class, everything just keeps pushed down. And so then if you're sitting there in the 6th and 7th, you're like, why would I draft this guy? I can probably get this guy in free agency, right? And that's kind of how the trickle down effect happened. There was so many combine O-linemen that did not get drafted. It was wild to me.
That's crazy. What's the situation in Seattle like for our boy Mason Rickman?
It's the gulag.
The gulag.
Yeah, Seattle's O-line room.
That's what everyone wants to hear.
Dude, that's Seattle's O-line room. It's the gulag, man. So they've got. It's funny. So I have Jalen Sundell from North Dakota State, who was at center for them last year. And when I called him, and because they drafted Gray Zabel in the first, right, his old teammate, then they drafted Cable Dew from Kansas in the 6th, then Mason in the 7th. And I text Jalen, I was like, "Yeah, you got some Midwest boys." He goes, "Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to change the group chat name of the O-line room." I was like, "What was it?" He goes, "It was HBCU and a white guy," because Jalen was the only white guy in the room. He's like, and now I think I was joking. I was like, "Yeah, you should probably change it to Culture Shifters," because now you've just got 4 Midwest O-linemen just coming into the room now, like a little bit different lifestyle coming through. But yeah, no, I mean, the thing that makes Mason so versatile is he's got great position flexibility, right? 4-year starter at left tackle at Iowa, complete combine snub, complete all-star game snub, and just rose through the process drastically. And it was funny. Some teams in the NFL, when I was doing my pre-draft calls, were like, I think he could be center. I think he could play tackle. I think he could play guard, right? So, like, his range is all over. But I think his versatility is going to be a thing that's really going to make him hard to cut, right? Because he's going to be able to – you don't want him to live at tackle, I don't think. But, you know, he's a guy that could come in and athletic enough to get you out of a game at tackle. But I think his home is going to be somewhere on the interior.
I was going to say I don't know shit about shit. Okay. Okay. All right. Mason Richmond, he got drafted. No, but he does strike me as it was weird that the Iowa specifically had. I mean, we had 3 guys. 3, 4. Ellsbury, Colby, and
did Colby go late?
Yes. Yes, he went to the Niners. Picked him up.
That was a wild one to me. That does not scream Connor Colby's scheme fit.
Tell me more. I don't.
So if you watch the Niners, right, their whole thing is like athletic run off the ball linemen that can just go.
Pin and pull, right?
Yeah, pin pull, outside zone stretch.
Trent Williams.
That lob toss, right? Like, they love those dudes. I always thought Connor Colby when I watched him, because I thought about recruiting him as well, but I ended up going with Mason instead. And I was like, you know, this is a guy for me that's going to have to go like Ravens, downhill, Giants, downhill. Like, I felt like he was more of a downhill, not as much of a get out on the perimeter guy.
Like Iowa plays.
More downhill type stuff. And yes, Iowa went more to the outside zone a little bit more this year, but I didn't think that was a great scheme fit for him. I could be wrong, because I mean, I'm not trying to knock on the guy. I just don't think he's the greatest athlete in the world. Right? Like, I think he's got some limitations athletically, but he got drafted, so I mean, he's going to definitely get a chance. But that's another O-line room that there's a lot of need in that O-line room, because they're getting old.
Yeah, they just paid Georgia $100 billion too.
Yeah, congrats, Trey McBride. You're the highest paid tight end for about 2 weeks.
I love it too because the game they play, because it's George, right? And he can pull that. So he's sitting. I don't know if he's sitting there or if it's Becta's his agent, right?
Yeah, his agent was just waiting for the McBride deal.
They're like, hey, 19 a year.
We're gonna reset the market.
19-1 sounds good.
Yep. Well, I mean, that's like, I don't know if you remember when David Bakhtiari signed as the highest paid left tackle in the NFL 4 or 5 years ago before he got kind of injured. Trent Williams wanted $10,000 more than him.
Yeah.
Right. And he got it. Right. Because Trent just wanted to be the highest paid left tackle.
That's all
he
that
didn't even care. Right.
Yeah.
He's like, just give me 10,000 more and just call it a day. I'm going to be the highest paid left tackle in the NFL.
Because, I mean, you're going to see like between taxes, agent fee, all that stuff, you're going to see of that 10,000, like $3,500.
Right.
That's a meal.
You don't give a fuck about that.
That's a meal with the boys out at a nice steakhouse. They're like,
I mean, and at that point, he's already made so much money. It's not even ridiculous. I'm so fascinated what they're going to do with Brock Purdy. I mean, I'm so fascinated.
Are we talking like maxed out type deal?
I think they're asking for 53 to 55. I really do.
Jeez.
I think the Niners
get that outside of San Fran.
Yes.
If he goes to free agency,
I do.
He does.
Really,
dude. Think about. Okay, we did this. So we talked about this on O-line committee. We did this on O-line committee. At any given time, there's probably 20 true starting quarterbacks in the NFL.
like
right?
Maybe
like 20 to 22 that you're willing to say like, hey, I'm willing to stake my franchise that this guy can.
Like we can go win with this guy,
right?
Sure.
And then there's 10 teams that are constantly like, shit, we don't have our guy.
Yeah, can we get a better guy?
Right. Sure. I think that one of those 10 teams, because I think Brock Purdy's one of those 20 right now. Sure. So if you're one of those 20, I mean, what team's not going to be like, okay, yeah, we got to go get this guy if we don't have a rookie, right? You don't think New Orleans would take Brock Purdy right now?
True. Crazy Derek Carr retirement,
right? I mean, Pittsburgh wouldn't take Brock Purdy right now.
Pittsburgh needs.
Rodgers allegedly Pittsburgh.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't touch that dude with a 10-foot pole.
He's washed, bro.
What about a 15-foot pole?
I mean, I don't know if Mike Tomlin.
They got big pipes in Pittsburgh.
I don't know if Mike Tomlin wants to deal with that, dude.
It's an industrial.
That doesn't seem like a culture fit,
dude. Is that a Tomlin? Like, is Tomlin willing to bet his career on this? I mean, one of the greatest NFL coaches of all time, never had a losing record, right? Known for his culture, known for all that, and he's gonna be like, you know what? At the end of my tenure here, let's pair it with Aaron Rodgers.
In his defense, though, he's been like the crazy guy whisperer, though.
That is true.
He like Antonio Brown, totally fine.
But he also Pittsburgh. But he doesn't put up with that shit. Like look what he just did with George Pickens. He was like, George, skedaddle. I can't handle your nonsense anymore.
As a quick hypothetical, could you imagine Brock Purdy in Pittsburgh?
It'd be fantastic.
Feels like it would fit really well.
Mm-hmm. Hand the ball off a bunch. Right?
Black and gold.
We're gonna throw it deep to DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth over the middle, like play action, all that stuff.
I mean, the Niners are paying so many guys a boatload of money. Like, how much can they even pay Purdy?
That's what I'm saying. They're going to bankrupt. They're going to be ass if they're going to be ass.
That's what happens. Their Super Bowl window has closed.
Yeah.
Right. They had about a 4-year stretch there where they had Nick Bosa on a pretty friendly deal, Fred Warner, right? Then they had to pay Ayuk, and now they had to re-up Kittle. Now Trent Williams is going to be in the equation. Now you got to pay the quarterback, right? Because they had Trey Lance and Brock Purdy in their quarterback room at one point, 2 rookie-scale quarterbacks. You can build a super team around that. Mm-hmm. As soon as you got to pay the quarterback $50 a year, other positions are going to suffer.
Yeah, you have to 50x what you're paying your quarterback.
Yeah. It's going to be bad news.
You see it every year too. Like for the last, I've seen the numbers. The stats are crazy. Other than Mahomes, who has like the $500 million contract, every team. It was back when like Burrow and the Cincinnati and the Rams. Like if you don't, the way you make the Super Bowl is you get a young guy on their rookie contract who's good. You pay all the guys around him. And then you go and you be great. But once you have to fork up a Billy for your quarterback.
It's why the Bills don't have a number 1 receiver.
Yeah. Right.
It's why Trevor Lawrence has suffered in Jacksonville. Right. I mean, you go across all these teams that have paid their guy because you also play the game of, I don't want to let this guy walk out the door because I have one of the 20, especially if I have one of the top 10.
You're stuck.
If I have one of the top 10, and I'm a GM and I let this guy walk, I'm signing my death warrant.
Yeah, they're gonna people
right. If Brandon Beane was like, we love Josh Allen, we love him,
He's
but
good.
we don't think we want to pay him $330 million. We're going to let him hit the street. There'd be riots at his house. Right? I mean, it's a necessary evil, but out of all the contracts this year, I'm hyper focused on what the hell the Bengals are going to do. You're paying $40 million to Jamar Chase, $28 million to T. Higgins, and $55 to Joe Burrow. For those of you, that's 44% of your cap. 44% of your yearly cap is in 3 players.
Now, how quick is Joe going to get hurt because he's getting hit so much?
I don't think they're going to be able to stop anyone from scoring. I mean, they had like the 31st ranked defense last year. They're going to they're going to have to win. I mean, they lost. I think the stat was they were like 2-4 on games that they scored 40 plus last year.
So they're going to be fun to watch.
It's not great.
Yeah. I mean, fantasy stats out the ass.
I was going to say those 3 players will be awesome in fantasy ball, but the team's going to go 500 and they won't do anything.
And I mean, and what are you supposed to do? You've locked all those guys up.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like guys get out of the cap though a lot now. Like I don't understand. I don't really understand.
You kick the can down the road, but eventually, as the Wolf of Wall Street, the chickens come home to roost, right? Like, and that's why the Saints are always 50 million over the cap. Like that's why the Rams were in cap hell 2-3 years ago when they paid Aaron Donald.
They sold their soul for that Super Bowl.
Hey, they got it though.
They got it. Right. Yeah. And that's what everyone's trying to do is find a way to host the Lombardi. And then if you do it and like, who gives a shit? Yeah, we're going to suck and we have no draft kits for 3 years, but we won. It's the teams that sell the soul and can't, a little bit like the Niners.
Yeah.
Right. Like they push the ball
so close
so many times. Eventually it's just not going to work anymore. And then guys like Dre Greenlaw have to leave.
Dude.
Right?
And if they would have had a healthy quarterback that 1 year.
Yeah. I mean, when Brock Purdy exploded his elbow, like that could have been the year too. Like they could have been so close. Detroit's going to be close here soon because they're going to have to pay Aiden Hutchinson and then Jamison Williams and then Amon-Ra St. Brown and then Jamar Gibbs. Right, like you have to win. You have these tiny Super Bowl windows, and I think the Bills are right on their edge of doing it. I think the Chiefs are getting a little close here, right on their edge. I mean, Mahomes is great, but how far can he go? And then I'm looking at teams like Broncos with a young quarterback in Bo Nix. I'm looking at teams like
don't get Grant too excited.
Well, he'll take the number necessary. He's a leader.
I mean, I'm looking at some of these young quarterbacks that have come in the league and go, okay, like let's see what we can do. Let's see what Jordan Love can do this year before the huge number hits next year, right? I mean, JJ McCarthy in Minnesota, they spent like $200 million in free agency this year.
Shadur Sanders in Cleveland.
Stop.
We're gonna get back. We're gonna get back to
him. We'll come back to that.
We're gonna get back.
I've got a good take on that.
We'll come back around to the draft right now because I don't want to get too far from it. As an agent, I have to imagine you and everybody else in the industry were pretty, maybe not prepared, but you were expecting it to be a weird draft. You knew it was gonna this was coming down the pipe.
100%. Yeah, we all knew, right? And trying to prepare your players is a totally different ball game, right? Because you're like, listen. The draft is never an exact science. And I mean, ever.
Even in a normal year.
Even in a normal year, guys are going to go way ahead and you're like, I don't see it. Right. And then you're going to have guys that go super late that you're like, I thought that guy was like a second rounder. Right. It's just how the draft works. But this year is particularly because there was no clear QB2, right? Because there was really no clear O-line 4. And there was really no clear like wide receivers 4 or 5. You knew it was just kind of be a flavor of the day thing once you hit day 3, right? Like the top guys were always going to be the top 50. And then after that, you're like, figure it out, boys, because you just had no idea what day 3 was going to look like.
And how much of those pre-draft workouts and visits, how much does that really play a factor when you get to that? That's everything, right?
A ton.
They just feel like you're the right fit. They vibe with you, and it's like, dude, we're going with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, and so much of it too is, hey, if I'm a first-year head coach, I'm willing to maybe take a gamble on a guy that didn't have the greatest interview, but's a hell of a player, right? If I'm a guy like a Brian Dable who I'm coaching for my job, I have to be very careful of the guys that I bring in because I need those guys to produce right now.
Yeah.
If I'm the new
shout out Jackson Dart's mom.
Yeah. If I'm the new, if I'm Howie Roseman with the Eagles, I don't give a shit who I bring in. Right, my team's stacked. Like, who cares?
They're unreal.
Draft the best available, and we'll see what happens. Make sure they're from Georgia, right? Like, I mean, they just kind of figure it out as you go. And so it's funny to watch how teams stack guys and what they're looking for. Is it character? Is it injury concern? Like, what is the thing that takes guys off boards? Like, it's a constant puzzle you're trying to fit. And as an agent, once draft day starts, you're just kind of holding on and like, all right, let's see where this thing goes.
What do you tell them? Or do you
just settle in? Hey, we like, so, I mean, between me and my two partners, we talked to probably 6 to 7 people from every single NFL team for 2 weeks leading up to the draft. Right, just gathering information from them. They're gathering information from us. Hey, what do you see our guys? Where do we have our guys? Right, and everyone's doing that. So you try and give your clients the best picture you can of like, hey, I think that you have like I told Mason, I think you have a 50-50 chance of getting drafted. Right, just based off my conversations. Right, if not, I think you're going to be a really high money PFA guy. Right, and then I had some guys where I'm like, hey, you have a 10% chance of getting drafted, but I'm pretty sure you're going to be this. Or I swung and a miss. I told my guy, I was like, hey, I think you have a 75% chance of going in the 4th round. There's no way you make it out of the 5th. He fell all the way out of the draft, right? So like you try and give these guys the best thing that you can, but then as the draft starts, you're kind of going, okay, well, those 3 teams said that they had Logan in the 4th round. Well, they just drafted 2 tackles in the 2nd and the 3rd, so they're not drafting another one in the 4th. So then the odds change and like the scales tip, and because guys, I mean, I think all the time people in the 1st round think they have this lock on a person they want to get, and then all of a sudden someone's still there that wasn't drafted and they thought was going to get drafted, so then they take him, and then their whole draft strategy changes, right? So that type of stuff is constantly evolving.
So you have a war room going in your guys' office too?
Yep.
Yeah.
So we travel around. So like last year it was in Lincoln. This year we went up to Bozeman, Montana, where my other partner lives. So we were all in an Airbnb there. And so we kind of just make sure, because we all do need to be together, because our phones are ringing like crazy about when the 5th, 6th round starts for free agency. Right. And so you're just constantly like, hey, I got a deal here. I got a deal here. What do you think? Let's kick things around.
That's got to be, is that fun?
Oh, it's super fun, but it's also super stressful.
Yeah.
Right. Because it's one of those things where like you have a team call you. I had a team call me like, hey, we want your player. Here's the numbers. What do you think? Like, I want to get this locked up right now. And you have to go, hey, let me call you back. Right. And then you have to quickly, you have about 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes before that deal going to probably be gone. And so you're calling like, okay, this is the deal. I pull up my roster breakdown. So I'll break down all 32 teams. I'm like, all right, this is where I think he fits.
Because you're trying to get him that, because that's the thing. When you're it gets to that point where we've talked about this a couple times, where if you're a 7th rounder, you'd rather just be undrafted. Like,
yes and no. Like, it's always good to be the NFL will view you at one point in time as someone wanted you.
Sure.
Right. Like that is good to carry with you through your career of like, oh, he was a draft pick. Right. At one point, the NFL was like, you're worth being drafted.
True.
Versus an undrafted free agent, you tag that career and you carry that with you every step of the way.
Yeah.
Right. Every step of the way was, oh, he was a post-draft guy. Like, so he wasn't good enough to be drafted. But on the flip side, there is certain times where picking your scenario is better than not.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I had a really good deal for Logan Brown. He was going to go to the Vikings. Everything was set there. And I was kind of like, please don't get drafted in the 7th. Right? Like, hey, I don't want you, because the situation is perfect in Minnesota for you. Like, I don't want you to get drafted in the 7th. Would I love for you to get drafted and we could call each other, because I know you're upset and everything. But like, the football side of me is like, this is the best opportunity for you to go make $850,000 by making the active roster versus getting drafted for $100,000. Yeah. Right. So like, it's just, there's a lot of give and take. And that's where, as an agent, you make your money and you make your job on those undrafted guys and placing them properly.
Right.
So do you got any performance enhancing drugs that are helping you out during this 6th, 7th round?
So much caffeine. I mean, so much caffeine.
We've turned into our Patreon only podcast for those Patreon listeners around here. Grant and I have spent a good amount of time the last couple weeks just discussing energy drinks, flavors, brands.
Dude, the Celsius is my shit right now.
That's your thing.
The Celsius and the Rains. Those are the Rain Tropical Storm is always a good one.
Oh, you like the skinny Rains?
Yeah. I like the Tropical Storm ones.
Give me a fat white gummy bear Rain.
Oh yeah,
300 millis to the dome.
Yep. I start drinking them like I'm a sommelier. I start listening to it, get a big waft.
I mean, every now and then you just got to go back to your roots and get the Green Monster, right? Like just straight back to high school.
2012.
It was like the first time you've ever heard of an energy drink, and it was the big can with the screw off lid, and you hear that. As you pop it, and the little bit of carbon, and you're like, oh, poison in the veins.
You dial in on some Modern Warfare too,
dude.
Oh yeah,
bro, those things. The original formula. I mean,
Yeah.
yikes.
Like we
Poison.
said, you could charge your phone if you just dip it in there for a little
Yeah.
bit.
Dude, that stuff was literal battery acid.
I want to go back to something you said because I think it would be interesting for the Hawkeye fans listening. You mentioned that you decided to go with Richmond over Colby. Literally, I don't know. Why not go with both? Or why not try to get both?
Yeah, I reached out to both, right? And oddly enough, neither one of them really got back to me. And so I kind of was like, okay, do I just keep randomly texting both of them?
Sure.
Right. And because it's one of those things where you have to, and in your mind, you always have to assume that they're talking to each other.
Right.
Right. And so it's like, hey, do you keep getting hit up by this guy? It's like, yeah, it's like, dude, the text messages are the same because there's only so many ways that you can say the same thing over and over again. Right. Hey, buddy, hope spring ball is going well. Would love to find time to introduce and connect. Right. Hey, man, everything good? Like, and so you just keep hitting those. But what it ultimately came down to is the tackle flexibility. Right. There's never enough tackles in the NFL.
Sure.
Ever. Right. It's a premier position. It's as important as D end, as quarterback. Like, if you can play tackle in the NFL, you will stick.
Not a lot of Tristan Wirfs out there.
No, there's not. Like, it really. And so that was ultimately what it came down to for Mason. I felt like he was a little bit better athlete. Maybe not. I don't think he's as strong as Connor. I think Connor's more of a just brick shit house at times.
Yeah.
But the athletic profile and the foot speed with Mason is what pushed him over the top for me.
You had 5 linemen?
Yep, 5 linemen, all Midwest.
How do you I don't know if you're in this scenario or not. You can tell me. There's probably some agents, some of the bigger ones that are like they might be. How do you decide like at what point I have too many? Because in your case, another agent or another client, another player means more potential for money. Why would you turn that down? But logically, on your side, you're like, okay, but now how do I service 6, 7, 8, 10 like how I can't do that, right?
Yeah, I think 5 to 7 is about where I would cap it out.
Okay.
Right. And a lot of that is because I don't think I could do that many if it wasn't for the ecosystem that I've built with a guy named Alex Boone up in Minnesota with Brute, the O-line.
Yeah,
the O-line
where you
gym.
send him to train.
Yep, where I sent him to train. Like, I helped build that gym and start it. So like, I'm very involved in how things are run there.
Yep.
So I know it's very smoothly run. I know who's taking care of them. I know who's watching them when I'm not around, what they're teaching them. I can come in and out of the gym. Versus if I had 5 different guys at 5 different locations, that'd be really tough.
That's tough.
Right? Because you're constantly like, hey, how was your day today? Versus Alex will just call me every day and run through what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
Hey, this is what happened here. Hey, Mason had a crash out, or hey, this happened here, this, that, and the other thing, or hey, Logan and Holland got in a fight today, right? Like, you just kind of can figure that out. And then it also helps that I go up there 3 times during the pre-draft for like a week at a time, and I install. Like, so Alex and I have created an entire playbook from our 16 years of combined NFL experience to install. Hey, here's how you identify defenses. Here's how you find the Mike linebacker in formations. Here's 5-man, 6-man, 7-man protections. Here's duo scheme, right? Guy at Kansas never ran duo. They were an 11 personnel that just ran inside-outside zone, right? So just installing these type of concepts with them, having them all in one location is so helpful because that would be so hard to do over Zoom all the time, getting everyone's schedule. So I do think, I'd like to sign 5 to 7 a year for the next couple of years. And then if I could get to where I had 10 to 17 active NFL offensive linemen, then I'd probably go to signing 2 or 3 a year, right? Because there's so much turnover.
Yeah, because at some point you're also having to, like, you're still their guy.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, and that's the thing.
It's not just getting them to the NFL. No. It's like once they're in the NFL, you're still managing. I mean, are you like you're doing like? I mean, I don't know how many brand deals linemen are doing, but like, are you? Yeah, I mean,
no. I mean, honestly, I tell guys like, hey, I'm your football and your football guy and your contract agent. Like, I have no problem with you. I have marketing guys that I'll hook you up with, but
sweet
beating the bushes for an O lineman is tough.
Right.
Like, it's a hard thing to do, especially young O linemen. Like, once you're established, you become a 2-3 year starter in a place.
Yeah,
sure, a lot easier, right? But out the gate, it's hot. But I mean, now I'm reaching the point where I'm going to have guys starting hitting free agency. Yeah. Right. So like Cordell Volson's going to hit free agency next year. And then John Michael Schmidt's going to hit
into the
like,
same process.
And so it's starting to go. That first 5 years is a huge grind because you don't make great money as an agent until they start making second deals.
Right.
Right. So now I'm finally reaching to where like class after class after class is going to start hitting free agency.
You're close.
So yeah, we're getting close. We're getting really close.
What are you like day after the draft, or maybe the night the draft ends? Are you like, as soon as you got all your guys squared away and like off to their new homes, are you calling your guys on current rosters like, hey, this is what they drafted, this is what?
Yeah, I'm usually getting
stuff like that?
I mean, so like the Bengals, for example, they drafted 2 guards, right? One in the 3rd, one in the 5th. Right. And so now I was talking with Cordell of like, hey, here's what's might going to happen. Here's the things that are going on. Or, you talk to your guys about, hey, they didn't draft someone, which means that you have a great opportunity. Right. So it is constantly kind of managing what's going on that front and that piece there. And then obviously, just starting and then now it's right back into recruiting. Right. Like it's the draft's over. You give yourself 2-3 weeks and then it's, hey, push the ball back up the hill. And so now it's back into recruiting and now it's high school kid recruiting. I met with 10 to 12 kids with the 2026 high school class.
You told me, yeah. So as we were scheduling this the other day, we pushed it to 8:30 because you said you had a meeting with a high school kid.
Yep.
What the hell does that look like?
If you would have told me 3 years ago when I got into this business that I was going to be
hold on. High school kids, as far as like you're looking all the way down the road, or are you trying to be like their NIL agent?
NIL agent.
Oh, we have so much to talk about.
It's a necessary thing now, man. The number 1 recruit in the country, 2026, is a guy named Jackson Cantwell or something like that. He's an offensive lineman. He's repped by Drew Rosenhaus, right? Like he's repped by Drew Rosenhaus. He has, according to the interwebs, he has a $2 million NIL offer from Miami.
Dude, how legit are those?
They're very legit.
Or not the okay, an offer would be legit, but how, like, you see these valuations?
Those valuations are bullshit.
Okay.
Right? Like, because every team's going to manage it differently.
Right.
Right? Every team has needs. Every team has different cap limits. Other teams have unlimited NIL funds like Oregon and Texas A&M, where the cap is not reached. Other schools like Nebraska, Iowa, Illinois are probably capped out at the amount of money they can raise within the state.
Yeah.
Right. And so every team's going to have different numbers, right? This team might say, hey, I can offer this 5-star $500,000, and Miami's like, I can offer him 1.5 because we've got unlimited money down here, right? It's just it's crazy, right? And I'm talking to these high school kids, and there's guys that are like, oh yeah, I have an offer for 300,000, or hey, they're only going to give me 75,000, or hey, they're going to offer me 150, and it's like,
Kev,
okay,
how absurd is this shit? We got no money.
Boys, I was a 4-year starter at left tackle. I'd have been making $1 million a year. Easily.
Yeah,
easily.
How as an agent, how verifiable are these offers, right? Because it's not pay for play technically still. So like how much trust can you put in? I've seen a few articles like where these kids, like leave the schools and saying like, I didn't get what I was promised.
Well, that's why you need an agent, because it's all in the fine print, right? It's all in the fine print. It's all in the contract. It's deliverables. It's payment schedule. It's termination clauses. Dude, I've seen some contracts put in front of me that I've called the collective and been like, this is a typo, right? Like, or else this is borderline insulting.
I was just going to say, like, or this is illegal.
Dude, it was a termination clause for an SEC school. And in the termination clause, like I called my partner and I was like, I have to be reading this wrong, right? And it read like, either party can terminate this contract at any time without cause, with no more monies owed to the athlete. And as I'm reading, I'm going, hold on. So you're telling me that at any time the collective can terminate this thing? No cause, and no money's owed. So that reads to me, you're going to get the kid on campus with a promise of a $500,000.
So this contract means nothing then.
And then you're going to get him there. The portal window is going to close at the end of the spring. And you're going to go, hey, we didn't raise the money. It now looks a little bit like 100. And there's nothing the kid can do.
Yeah.
And so I called them and they're like, Jeremiah, we have 1,500 kids that have signed this. And I was like, I don't give a shit. Right. Like that's their fault. That's their fault for not having representation. And that was my first taste as to like why I need to get into this industry. Right. You have to protect these kids. And also parents don't understand. I keep hearing from parents, it's funny, they just have such a great relationship with my son. They love him. Right? They've come to the house. Like they tell me he's the number 1 recruit. Like, do we need an agent? Like, I don't want to rock the boat. Like, and I'm going, I don't know how to politely.
You're being recruited.
Once you
Welcome to recruit.
Once you get there, you're a number on a page. And now there's a money value attached to that number on the page, which means there is now a production piece that you have to have, or that number is going to go down, or you're going to get asked to leave.
My favorite thing when we came into Iowa, and you just hear it every year, was you get back from the bowl game, and the seniors are gone, and a couple new kids would come in because they're coming in at semester, and they do something wrong for the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you just hear from across the field, no one gives a fuck that you're a 4-star.
Yep.
Your stars don't fucking matter anymore. No one knows who you are here.
Yep. That's exactly how it is. And now, I mean, I don't know if you probably haven't followed it as much as I have, but there has been an unbelievable amount of people that have left the NFL, high-level executives in NFL buildings, to come be GMs of colleges. And a lot of them is they're coming back to their alma maters, right?
Like Woj?
John Dykma, high level vice president of like the Detroit Lions for the better part of the last decade. He just got poached to his alma mater, Michigan State, to be their GM.
Yeah.
Jim Nagy, the director of the Senior Bowl, is the GM of Oklahoma, and they paid him $1 million. Right? Pat Stewart, the guy Nebraska hired, came from the Patriots. Right? These guys are coming from the NFL because colleges are going, we are going to have a cap
because it's the same thing.
We're going to have recruiting departments just like the NFL, where you have a pro and a college. Now we're going to have a portal and a high school, right? We're going to have to manage a roster now because of these 105 limits, right? Everything is going to mirror the NFL. And I tell these kids, and I tell them all the time, like, do you know what NFL execs love to do? Cut people.
Fuck you.
They love to cut you and rake you over the coals and get you for as cheap as humanly possible, because that's their job. If you don't have representation and your dad can say, oh, I can negotiate the best of them, that GM's going to chew you up and spit you out and kick you out the door. And you're going to go, what the hell just happened? Like, this is what these guys do for a living.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm going. This is the professionalism of amateur athletics. It's here. It's 100% here. And it's changing rapidly before our eyes. The hard part is anyone could be an NIL agent. All three of you could be an NIL agent right now.
I actually am. Anybody listening, we can sign you right now. So this brings my next question, because we had Brad Heinrichs on, who's our
GM.
Yeah. No. Swarm Collective.
He's the collective.
The collective guy.
Tyler Barnes is our GM, and I think he's been doing a fantastic job, at least from the outside. Who knows on the inside?
No, I've worked with Tyler a few times. Very good dude.
He's awesome. He always has been. He's, quite honestly, as a guy who wasn't one of those NFL guys that was already in one of those roles, I don't know how we could have lucked out more. He's always kind of had, without the money and the NIL and all that, he's always kind of had that managerial role in the program. And now it's just like an official, I'm the GM.
For sure.
He's fucking great at it. Need to have him on the show. But we talked about Heinrichs, leader of the Swarm Collective. And both on air and then a little bit more candor off air, he basically said, yeah, these NIL agents are ruining the sport. Mm-hmm. So, way to go,
they don't know what to do. It's
you.
No.
Fuck you, man.
It's the NIL agents that aren't real agents. It's the NIL agents that do the Tennessee quarterback bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. I agree to terms. I agree to $2.5 million. We sign a contract, and I come back 3 months later and say, I want more money. That's not how this works. Right. And if you had a proper agent that could sit you down and go, no, buddy, this is the real world. We don't do this. This is not going to end well for anyone involved, including yourself. Then that doesn't happen.
Which it didn't.
But if you've got dad,
haircut, didn't he?
Yes. If you've got dad and uncle and cousin and everyone else running the show for you, and they're looking at everyone else's pocket and going, well, my son should be making this, it's like, well, okay. The great part about NIL is it's not even like the NFL. It's a year-long contract, and then you can renegotiate. You can renegotiate every single year.
Yeah.
It's not the NFL. You're not locking yourself in for a 4-year contract.
At least not yet.
Not yet. And so it's like, okay, you're making 2.5 this year. Go ball out, and next year let's make it 4.
Yeah.
Right. But the people that don't understand how this process works are ruining the sport, because they're coming in and they're trying to create rules that don't make any sense and then paint it like a bad guy and then using the portal as a hostage thing, right? Holding people hostage with the portal. And
Brad was talking about guys who aren't even the agents of a guy. So like Jeremiah Sirles, awesome sophomore tackle, plays for Nebraska, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm some NIL agent. I'm not yours, but I go around to other teams and say, hey, Jeremiah Sirles is signing with me this offseason. We're looking for the best deal around. We're looking to go somewhere and win a national championship, get a little bit more money. The Huskers just aren't doing it. He fields a few offers from a couple big name schools, comes back to you. It's your first contact with this person. And they're like, hey, I got some contacts in the industry. They're coming at me. They think I might, they want to know, hey, what's it looking like? I could be your agent if you want one of these deals. And then they're like stealing people with this fake deal. It is crazy, man.
Well, that's the one thing I wish the NCAA would get a handle on is tampering.
Yeah.
Like that is for me, like, I don't think you're going to be able to put the genie back in the bottle with the money thing. You can try like hell.
No, guys are getting paid now. It's just about
but even with the like trying to put like a hard cap on things, like I don't think that ship has sailed. What they do need to do is they need to fix the things that they can control, which is tampering and the transfer portal. Right? Those are the two last things the NCAA actually has somewhat of a hand on the wheel with. Because right now the tampering rule is don't do it. Right? And it's like, or what? Yeah. Right? Like, there's no consequence to it. So it's like, oh no, yes, NCAA, I won't tamper. And then they just go like, oh, go reach out to this kid and let's see what happens.
Every single kid in the portal that's
been tampered with.
That's worth a shit. Knows where they're going before they enter.
100%. The deals, the ink is dry before they even hit the transfer portal.
It's wild.
And that's the stuff that has to stop. Like that is the ruining the sport piece. Like if you want to hit the portal, test the market, man. That's your free agency. Yep. Go for it. But you shouldn't be able to have someone locked into a deal beforehand.
Yeah.
I thoroughly believe that. I think that's the only way you work it is with pretty severe consequences if you get caught. Right? I mean, scholarships taken away, postseason bans.
That's all they have to do.
Like, just do that, and people will stop.
Give them the SMU death penalty. One school. Just find a school that's doing it the worst.
And then I think the transfer portal needs to go back to somewhat of the old rules where you get one free transfer, and then after that, if you can't get a thing from the NCAA for a family matter or whatever it is, and you're moving home, then you got to sit out a year.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's the only way we're going to be able to start putting a little bit more guidelines on this thing. But I just don't think the NCAA has the balls to do it.
I don't either.
Going back to deliverables, what do those kind of look like for an NIL deal? Because like can it be related at all to any on-field performance?
No,
like
zero on
played?
No.
Yeah.
No.
So what do deliverables look like then?
Tweets, appearances, Instagram posts, show up to this event.
You stay at the school or whatever.
Yeah. And then so it's like, hey, if you do this, and they payment structure it out for over the course of a 12-year or 12-month period. And most of it is backloaded into the season portion. And then there's usually some bonuses that hit post window, like portal windows closing, right? And that piece there. I do think there is some wiggle room now. And I haven't negotiated one of these, but I've started to hear a few of these where you can build a little bit of incentives into them of, hey, first team All Big Ten, first team All American, then your name, image, likeness goes up because you were better. So then you can get more money. So I think that there is a little bit of the incentive things going on. I'm going to be very curious how schools are going to structure it here as the rev share stuff comes in. And because right now you're going to sign 2 contracts, one with the university and the rev share, one with the collective, and then somewhere the number is going to get meet in the middle of who's paying what. It's going to be interesting, man.
Dude, it's crazy.
It's the Wild West. And now you've got Trump and Saban trying to do something, and you're like, what is that?
Is Saban on the cabinet now? Is that what that means?
He's in the cabinet.
That's what I thought.
He's special project managers of NCAA NIL, which means he's going to be like the commissioner of football when they separate from the NCAA.
I'm okay with that, honestly.
But I mean, if there's someone I wouldn't want at the head of the committee, it's Saban.
Why?
Because he's so crusty, dude. He's gonna try and change too much.
He's never cheated in his entire life.
He's gonna try and change too much too fast.
Is it time for KF to retire and take the head of the NCAA?
I think KF will retire because he doesn't want to deal with this shit anymore.
Yeah, I do too.
I think all those old school coaches, dude, they're dead. Like the Saban's getting out. You know, all of a sudden Belichick's back in, and that's a whole nother can of worms we could probably do an entire episode on. Right?
Oh, you can come back next week. We'll just talk about Jordan and Bill.
Shit's wild, dude.
Dude,
she must have a magic hole. I don't know. Like, I don't know, bro.
That was such an Ike. That was like an Ike or a Drake or a Bo comment.
That's an Ike. That's an Ike. That's an Ikeism. Dude, that's an Ikeism. Like, I don't know, dude. How do you take at one point in time the scariest individual in the NFL?
She's 24, dude.
Hands down, he was the most terrifying personality in the NFL for the better part of 2 decades. So now he's doing a CBS interview, and he's like, "Can we talk about that?"
So it's crazy that you say that because my opinion of him now, because of all this, is like, was he actually scary or was he just like some like?
No, he was, dude. I know people that played for him. He was terrifying. Like, he was terrifying. And now I don't know what it is.
Just enjoying retirement, bro.
Loving life.
I'm way more scared of the girlfriend now.
Oh, she
scares. She might be a demon, I think.
Dude, she's got so much power. I mean, how do you get Bill Belichick to take mermaid pictures on the beach?
Yeah, magical.
It's the only way.
So when you meet with a high school kid, did you approach them or they approach you? Like, how does and what do you even?
Dude, I reached out when I finally decided this was an avenue that I wanted to go down, and I was like, okay, I want to explore how this is going to work. I DM'd, went on Rivals and 24/7 and On 3, and I circled a map of Midwest, Colorado, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Illinois, the Dakotas, Michigan. And I said, I'm going to reach out to all the offensive linemen that are 4 and 5 stars, even some 3 stars and above, and introduce myself and see what this world looks like. And I remember DMing on Instagram and following a bunch of high school kids and walking upstairs to my wife and going, I feel like a pedophile.
I hate my life.
Be careful. One of those memes is going to be getting a pizza with Chris Hansen.
And you're like, I don't know how to feel about this. These kids are 16.
Kevin, that was perfect.
Have a seat.
Yeah. Come on in, Chris.
No. No. Just sit down. Sit down.
No,
you said that you wanted to talk about your future together.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And so I always would put in there, like, would love to meet with you and your parents. Right? Like, and your parents.
Please bring your guardian.
Right? Because they're 16, 17-year-old kids. Dude, like, they couldn't even sign the contract to sign with me. They'd have to get their parental consent to sign with me.
They can barely fucking drive.
But the more you talk to these kids, the more you see the ones that are taking it serious and see it as a professional thing, and the ones that aren't, right? And we offer some pretty cool stuff of, in training and mentorship. And, I feel like that's a little bit what's going to put us ahead of the curve, because so many agents are just transactional based of like, hey, we're just going to come in and negotiate your contract and I'll see you next year. There's so much more
camp too,
obviously. Right, we're getting plugged into the mentorship program, into the teaching program, I pay a lot of money to get access to all the films. So we're gonna watch film together, right? We're gonna talk, and I tell these guys all the time, like, paying an agent fee as your freshman year, you're gonna pay it because I'm gonna hopefully negotiate you a bigger than your original offer deal, the mentorship, but hopefully that $75,000 deal you guys are freshmen, we can turn into a $200,000 deal the next year because you're playing, right? You're making money between the white lines. That's what matters for a lineman.
I'd love to make $200,000 this year.
You and me both, brother.
God, is the percentage that agents are getting paid in college roughly the same as NFL, or is it kind of all over the map?
It's all over the map, dude. I've heard guys that are charging 20%, which is absolute highway 20. Robbery. Like, I can't imagine taking 20% from a kid and them agreeing to that.
How grimy would you feel?
I just don't understand how there was some agent that got online and tried to justify it and just made a complete ass of himself.
Okay. I do understand it being a little bigger than the pros because
with smaller contracts.
It's a smaller number. Yeah. But the way he tried to justify it, he's like, 3% of $1 million deal is the same thing as me taking 20% of $100,000 deal. And I was like, yeah, except for the kid's making 80 and the other guy's making 2.97. So what are you talking about?
That math doesn't make sense.
That math doesn't make any sense. Right. And so, there's different levels of, hey, there's 5%, 10%, 12%, and like anywhere between 5 and 20 is kind of what I've heard.
Jesus.
Right. And there's just so much that goes into that on that piece. And so, it's just trying to find a place where As an agency, you want to find a place that's fair, right? That you feel like you're being compensated for doing your job while also not trying to screw the client, because the client ultimately works for you. And if you're trying to build a pipeline of, I want to rep this kid as a 16-year-old so that in 4 years he picks me when he goes to the NFL, there has to be a fair balance somewhere in there. If this kid feels like you screwed him for 4 years and he ends up trying to be a second-round pick, and you get to NFL time and CAA or Athletes First walks in there, they're going to be like, oh, this dude raked me over the coals for 4 years. I'm going to go with these guys.
I was just going to say the ideal scenario for you here is you find him when you're 16. That sounds predatory already.
Yep. 100%. I've accepted it. I just talk about it like it's normal now, because if I don't, I
you're
just
gonna have to fucking register on some website, I think.
Probably.
You find like 2 a class that are just studs. They play for 3 years. They leave early. They get drafted in the first couple rounds, and they stay with you the entire time. And you're just like,
that's
bang.
the dream. That's the hope and the dream. But like the reality is, if I sign 7 high school kids this year, the reality is 1, maybe 2 will get a shot.
Maybe.
Right? That's just the way it works. Right. So you have to keep up working with recruiting guys. But I've learned this year, especially as I'm trying to recruit, and I've been recruiting the last 2-3 months, guys are locked up. Yeah, guys have dudes, right? Because if you have an NIL agent that's helped you made over $500,000 and he's a good guy, you're not going to want to leave that guy. And so now I'm fighting an uphill battle trying to root someone out to get my name at the front of the line.
This may be a question that you don't have a great answer to until you're into the NIL stuff for a couple years. If I'm a guy who's worth anything right now in this wild west of college NIL, and like on the horizon, it's like, oh no, they're eventually going to change the rules and they're going to like put parameters and bumpers on the money I can make. The amount of anxiety I would have of like, am I making my potential right now? Like, because there's such an opportunity. Like, especially if you understand money, you're like, I can make upwards of $500,000, $1 million. If you're a stud, you can make a couple million over the course of your college career.
Yeah.
Like a few $1,000,000 and then a couple years in the league, you invest that money, put it away right, you're done.
Yeah, you're set.
You're done.
You're set.
You did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of why I think it's important to have an agent, because that way you're not worrying about that. Right? Hey, focus on the ball. Let me do what you hired me to do, which is get you market value and above. Right? That's my job, is to get you market value and above. Handle the business side of it. You just worry about the football side of it. Because I think if you try and wear both those hats, you're going to burn yourself out. Because you're going to be worrying about checking other people's pockets and what's that guy making? Why am I not making this? And then the play is going to suffer.
Dude, I would have been.
Next thing you know, with the way the NCAA works now, you're going to be asked to enter the transfer portal.
I would have been DMing every team's long snapper and been like, dude, how much are you making?
Yeah.
How are you making your money?
Yeah.
How can I squeeze out a couple 5, 6, 8 more grand out of this thing? Like,
the thing that'll be really fascinating is what happens here. And I think it's probably going to happen, maybe not this year, but maybe the next year, is when someone's going to tell the NCAA, who are you to tell me I can only play 5 years? Who are you to tell me that I can't play 6
Kevin, we're going
years?
back to college, brother.
I think I saw something like that come out from this house settlement, and I didn't really see a good answer on what the judge said on that.
Yeah, I mean, because why? I'm getting paid for a service for my name, image, and likeness from this school. Who are you to say I can only play 5 years?
Well, the NCAA would and the universities would have to officially split at that point, because it's an eligibility. Like, there's still a lot of tied up in the eligibility thing and being a member of the university. I mean, I suppose you could just continue to get degree after degree after degree.
If the school's willing to keep you on scholarship, who's the NCAA to say that you can't play more?
Well, I guess just the standing 5-year rule, or the whatever.
Which rules are getting ripped away every single day. I mean,
right.
When you and I were in school, the standing rule was if someone paid for our cheeseburger, we were ineligible forever.
You're right.
And now we're talking about guys making $2 million a year. So don't tell me they can't change it.
And now you're going to have employment contracts.
And as soon as you have employment contracts, game over.
And nowhere else in the world does the United States government tell you can only work for a corporation for
5 years.
It's true.
Right? I mean, that's the thing that's coming down the pipe. And then once the employment contracts hit, workers' comp becomes a thing, right? Like, there's so many pieces that moving daily into this thing, dude. I honestly don't know where college football is going to be in 3 years. I have no idea. Like, and there's such a wide range of, it could be its own league. You could have a cap that's centered. It could be like the MLB, where Texas, Texas A&M, Oregon, and Ohio State are the only 4 teams that are worth a shit every year because they have an unlimited salary cap. Like, I have honestly no idea where
it's almost that way already.
I mean, Texas is operating on a $38 million football team budget right now. 38. Ohio State spent 34 last year to win a national title.
Let me go puke. I'm gonna go throw up real quick.
Indiana's going, I don't have that.
Kevin,
Nebraska and Iowa are going, I don't.
I was just gonna say, Nebraska, Indiana, and Iowa are combining and all going, collectively, we don't have that.
Because that's what I'm saying. Like, the schools right now, like the Nebraskas and the Iowas and Minnesota, like, you go through the not top 3 teams in the Big Ten,
right,
are capped at tapped. They've hit every donor in the state as much as they can,
and they're going to get this rev share, but it's only everybody's going to get the rev share,
right?
So
everyone's going to get it. Versus in A&M, all they're going to do is go knock on Jimmy Oil Rig down the street and be like, "Hey, can I get another 30 million? Yeah, sure. Turn the spigot on." Right? Like, there's unlimited funds. Phil Knights came out and told Oregon, you have an unlimited NIL budget.
Dude just wants to win one before he dies.
Yeah, I have a question about that, because you're not just the agent NFL side of this thing. You're a Husker too. Unfortunate, but it is what it is. As a fan of the Huskers or a fan of the Hawkeyes, what's the expectation then? If you lose so Iowa plays Oregon and Penn State at home this year. And if we lose to both those teams, and it's just like, man, we gave a good fight, but it's like we just couldn't compete with the talent. As an Iowa Hawkeye fan, do you just have to be okay with that and be like, nowadays, or where in the past you're like, man, we should be able to like outwork or out tough these guys.
Yeah,
but
you find some good recruits that nobody else found, and
and now
like good recruit, it's good for 1 year. And
now is it something that we can just be okay with? You're like, yeah, they have just way more money than us. You might get lucky 1 in 10 years, but it is
if there's no cap, then yeah. That's what's going to happen.
You just have to be okay with it.
You have to understand where you are in the pecking order.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same. And that's the problem that's in the MLB right now. Right? It's the Yankees and the Dodgers and everyone else.
I don't know. The Rockies, they're coming.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what always happens when the playoff times crunch, the big money guys that are meant for it, they show up, and then they all end up there. And so, yeah, when Oregon comes to Kinnick and Iowa's going to fight with every single ounce that they have, and they're going to go to it. And then in the fourth quarter, the 5-star quarterback throws to the 5-star receiver that's a combined $1 million that's running past the Iowa linebacker and goes.
I'm going to streak and trip him because I'll be there. But
but like, you have to go. Yeah, we don't have those guys.
Yeah,
like, or we had that
every
guy.
now and then. Like you can play a great game, but every now and then those guys are going to make great.
Or you're like more often than not with Iowa. I think Iowa and Nebraska both can be like, well, we have 3 of those guys.
Yeah,
they just threw the other side.
Yeah, we have 5 of those guys on both sides of the ball. They have 11.
Yeah,
right. Like, that's what it comes down to: is how many of those guys can you afford?
And
how many 5-stars can I afford to bring into my program and keep in my program year after year after year?
It's such a similar thing to like, and nobody cares about this analogy, but it's exactly how I felt playing at Marshalltown High School. And we would go play Ankeny, or you don't know any of these teams. Well, you might, because you're going to be recruiting high school kids.
Yes,
so you're going to be familiar with all these guys.
That is true.
But anybody from Iowa listening is like, okay, yeah, we're Marshalltown. We're an hour outside of the metro. Every class has 3 to 5 good to great athletes, but and you could play with teams for a while, and we would, especially if you had a good year, a good couple, a good junior senior class. You could get 8 to 10 guys out on the field, a couple playing both ways. But then in the third quarter against Waukee or Dowling or Ankeny, who have 2 to 3x the student body you have and 6 to 10x the sports participation, you run out of gas.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse for it. It just is what it is. And you're like, and unfortunately,
that's the state of college football right now, man.
What so like, A&M, Texas, Oregon, Ohio State, like payrolls in the 30 million plus range.
Yep.
What's like those second and third tier schools ranges looking like? You have any idea?
I'm guessing they're between like 18 and 22. Like, I really think that's the big of a drop off. Like, I think there's the like 18 to 22 or maybe even 25 on the upper range, and then it's the 30 plus schools. right?
Now,
Like
outside those huge schools, like I find it hard to believe, but apparently, I've been proven wrong thus far. Is like these donors just coming in with this money year after year after year, even if like they're not in the playoff, not like that well is going to tap dry eventually. No,
I mean, some of these dudes just have such funny money. It's not
Dude,
even like
Kev,
like,
it's
for
that
example,
compounding. They're making that in interest every year.
So one of Nebraska's biggest donors is the Peds of Piedmontese beef.
Oh,
right.
good.
So they're based here in Lincoln. They've moved all their like they've moved all distribution, like everything back to Lincoln.
Do you have any connections? We'd love to have them as a sponsor.
Yeah, so would I. Actually, I golfed with a couple guys the other day, but they were looking for. I'll just give a quick like funny money example here. They were looking at buying Firethorn Golf Club, which is one of the like second highest rated golf club here in Lincoln, besides the Country Club, Lincoln Country Club. And they were like kicking back and forth, like because it was for sale. Do we want to buy it? Like, okay, well, there's some issues. Like, oh, they want us to fix this, that, and the other thing. And the deal kind of fizzles out, and then they pull out. 3 weeks later, they just go, fuck it. We'll just build our own. And they just like 5 miles down the street, bought a whole bunch of land and immediately started construction on building their own private golf course, which is only going to be for like friends, family, the Husker golf team, and like private events. Like that's the kind of money these people have. And so, yeah, $5 million to the university every year, wipe my ass with that and throw it away. Like I think every school has some of those people. Like that, just no matter what, they're always going to go back because that's their school.
Could you imagine having that kind of money, man?
Oh, dude, I call it FU money. Like it's just take the jet for the weekend and run upstate to the Hamptons house for a few days, and then we'll go down to Cabo. And
such a different life.
It's a totally different world, dude. Man. But then you're seeing guys like Max Crosby. He's going back to Eastern Michigan as part of their collective, and like, is he going to start donating back to the school? And there's always going to be money at the big time universities.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like the crowdsourcing, like when they're like asking everyone to like Venmo $20 or something like that. It's like,
Kev, this is why we're fucking waiting on you to get loaded rich and make the Hawks great again.
I'm trying my best. I'm trying my best.
Give like Steve Cohen an honorary doctorate or something, the owner of the Mets, because he's just shelling out money to them. And we need.
Well, you know what? Luigi Mangione, that killed the healthcare CEO, that guy was an Iowa alum and donated to the Swarm. One of our fucking major donors got taken out on a national level.
Yeah.
It's a fucking conspiracy theory.
Illuminati.
Anyway, someone didn't want the Hawkeyes to be great. And evidently, it's that Italian guy.
Kevin, the thing that I don't think is sustainable is if you're already in today's age operating at a $38 million budget, where does it stop? Right? Because no one's going to take, it's just like the NFL. No one takes less money than the guy that got signed the year before. It's the George Kittle example.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if I'm a wide receiver at Texas and I'm watching the kid from last year, Bond or whatever, the really good one.
Yeah.
Hey, he made $800,000 last year. I'm just throwing a number out there. If I'm the receiver behind him and I'm next in line to be his, I'm asking for $1 million. Right? Because I'm not taking what he made. I want more. Right? I want more than that guy made. And that's at every position across the board. That's how negotiations work. The market gets set, the market gets beat. I don't know, where does it stop? Like, does it stop when all of a sudden you're like, we have a $50 million roster right now. Like, how are we going to sustain this? That's the thing for me, that I don't know where the spigot turns off.
No,
eventually though, there's at some point
like, but it has to. But how do you do that without blowing up your entire team?
Well, okay, here's a question for you. What would NFL salaries caps or salary look like without a cap? Like what
it'd be insane. The big market teams would destroy the small.
You think the billionaires would just be like, I want to win. I don't care.
The big market teams, the Dallas, the New Yorks,
every guy in the roster making $30 million a year.
Like it would crush the Clevelands and the Kansas Cities, like that just don't have the market. Like the money.
Suddenly, this sounds pretty good, actually.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I have this stupid thing behind me. I know it's awful.
Yeah, what is you?
I lost a bet. So I bet my barber. My barber is a
Well, you lost 2
huge-
bets actually, which we have to come back around on here.
Yeah, I know. Oh shit, I do. I have to get a hot.
We got to get you a T-shirt. We had multiple people ask about if you're gonna. Yeah, we're gonna get it to you for this season.
Yeah, so I bet I'm a big Bills guy. He's a huge Chiefs fan. I bet him that the Bills were going to win the AFC Championship this year. And if I would have won, he was going to have to hang a huge Bills banner in the barbershop, like right above his chair for a year. And
Worth
if he lost, and if I lost, I had to hang this behind me for every podcast that I do. So
forever,
Swifty Sirles.
Still next year's AFC Championship.
That's a custom flag that says Swifty
It is a custom Swifty Sirles flag that must fly behind me.
What are you going to do with it at the end of the year?
Burn it. Burn it with fire. Yeah, I do need a Hawks. I need a Hawks shirt.
We're gonna get you a Hawks by a Million shirt for this season's episode.
Yes.
And I can already give you a preview of this year's Iowa Nebraska matchup. It's gonna be close, 2.5 point line. Someone's gonna fuck up at the end.
100%. That's exactly how it goes.
What happened to Shedeur Sanders?
All right. Here's the thing. Everyone who's played at the NFL at one point in time has bent the knee. You will bend the knee to play in the NFL.
Remember,
regardless if you're Marvin Harrison Jr. or Arch Manning coming up, you have to play the game unless you are unreal talented. And no one besides Shedeur himself thought that he was an unreal talent. And he played the game like, I'm not doing any of the athletic testing stuff. I'm not going to throw at the combine. I'm not going to prepare for these interviews because I'm a top 5 pick. If the league doesn't believe that, it doesn't matter. And the league never believed that. The league never believed that Shedeur Sanders was a top 5 pick. And so for him to then go through the process like he was, I think rubbed a lot of teams the wrong way. Right. A lot of teams are, because when you're drafting a guy on day 1 or day 2, you're buying that dude for 4 years. Right. And you're staking at that position, the quarterback position, you're staking your job on that kid. Right. You see it all the time. Guys either make or break their careers as GMs with the quarterback in which they draft. Brandon Beane's no longer in Buffalo if Josh Allen doesn't work out. Right. You see it all the time. And I think there was enough red flags with Shedeur from a player standpoint. Right. Took a lot of sacks. Threw a lot of interceptions, not the most athletic guy in the world, not the biggest guy in the world. Like there was enough red flags there that when he didn't do the other athletic testing stuff, the NFL's like, I'm not drafting this dude in the top 3. I'll take him in day 3 in the 5th round, which 5th rounders get cut all the time. And then I don't look like an asshole if Shedeur doesn't work out. If he works out, I look like a genius.
Genius, yeah.
Right. And you must bend the knee. I'm sorry. The league's going to be around a lot longer than you ever will. They don't care about you. You will bend the knee. Shedeur didn't bend the knee, and he eventually had to.
So Mel Kiper had like a meltdown the entire.
Him and Reese Davis, I thought were going to go to blows.
Hilarious.
I thought they were going to go to blows. I thought it was so funny. I loved everything about it.
I mean, say he does play the game. Say he does the combine, the testing. He interviews halfway decent. You know, is he a 2nd round guy, a 3rd round guy?
I think he had a chance to maybe go in the 3rd. I don't think he ever was a 1st round prospect. Dude, he only really played 2 years and his record was what? 13 and 11. Yeah.
Not great.
What quarterback's done that and gone in the 1st round?
Hey man, He got his jersey retired.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, bro. Your jersey retired, bro?
Nope. Not even in my high school. I didn't even have my high school retire my jersey.
Me either. And
you come to see you for 2 years, you go 13 and 11, and they hang the banner.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I'd be very like Travis Hunter is like the most disrespected person in that whole idea.
For sure. Dude goes 2nd overall, and no one talked about him.
Yeah.
Dude, Cam Ward goes 1-1, and they're like, no one cares. Right?
No one talks about him.
Shedeur. It's like, dude, Cam Ward's going to stroll into this year with 0 pressure on him.
Yeah.
Right? Like, everyone's going to be like, what are the Browns doing? And of course, the Browns did 2 quarterbacks, right? Like Dylan Gabriel, who is a midget. Like, he's so small, dude. Actually, I stood next to him. I stood next to him at the Senior Bowl, and he's built like a toddler. Tiny little body, massive head, like kind of bobbles. And he wore that really big helmet, which didn't help. Like that was
just like that. You see the reporter, the clip of him at the podium. The reporter, after he steps off, goes, "I'm taller than him."
Dude, he's so small. Like itty bitty.
You did play in the NFL though. I'm gonna wrap all the way back around to your to the conversation about when the team sells their soul to win a Super Bowl and pays. You were in the NFL. Say you're on a team and it's like, hey, I'm gonna be here for the next 10 years. How long of a drought would it have been worth it to win 1 year and then just be asked? Like, would it have been worth it to win one Super Bowl ring
100%
and just be asked for the next 8 years of your career?
I'd be 1-16 every year if it meant I won a Super Bowl.
Wow. That's
Dude,
how much.
To be as close. So I made it to the NFC Championship.
Yeah.
Right. Like I played in an NFC Championship game, and to be that close and to taste it, dude, like it was there because it was going to be in our home stadium, right? Minnesota was going to host the Super Bowl. And like, it was so close, like to get even that close, and I'd even play in the game. Like, but I can't imagine like the feeling of winning a Super Bowl. Like I can't even start to fathom the joy and the dopamine hit that would be. I would give up a lot of things to win a Super Bowl. Would I chop my dick off like Vrabel? Probably not. Right.
That was my next question.
Yeah, probably not.
Beat me to it.
Right. But there are certain things that,
Dude, you've had your kids.
Yeah, I mean that's true. The nuts are clipped already, so no more surprise babies.
You can have a back into your career as like an alto in a choir or something.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
or soprano. Is it
soprano? Soprano's the high one.
I don't have any other questions for Sirles. I'm not going to keep him too long. This was
you're good, dude.
This was a sick podcast. People are going to love this one. Grant, Kev, any other random questions? What's your favorite color?
Red.
Clearly.
Husker red.
If
we're being more specific, it's
Swifty swirls
red.
sheep red.
Favorite Taylor Swift song?
None. I literally what's the old one she had? Where she used to hold the thing where like they'd sing back and forth
You're
to each
on
other.
your phone.
Yeah, that one. That was always a pretty catchy one.
Girlfriend, she's upset.
Yeah, that's
going off a bounce. Oh, we're gonna get DMC'd on the YouTube. We can't sing that. It'll be too close to the original.
Too close to the OG.
Sorry, Taylor. Don't strike me down. That's all I got.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Always, I mean, an hour and a half flies by every single time.
Yeah, that was we could talk for 3 hours, but we will bring you back, which is well. We'll cut it off.
Always.
We'll pick it up back next time.
Go check out the O-line committee.
Yeah. Oh, that
Great
was one last question I was going to ask. If you could have you could choose one company to sponsor the O-line committee podcast show right now, who would you choose?
Polaris, probably.
That'd be sick.
See if I get some fun toys for hunting season and running around on a Polaris. So I think Polaris is there. We're starting to get some sponsor talks now, which is nice. That's always a good thing to have going into the season. So
dude, we're on the same.
Nice to make some money off that eventually. So.
Yeah. You sound like Josie. You ask Josie like, "Hey, who would you love to like be sponsored by?" He's just like, Under Armour hunting.
Sick Weatherby.
Yeah,
Glock. I don't know.
I was gonna say, what's the
Master?
Yeah,
just Bass Pro Shop.
Beretta's a good one.
Beretta would be sick.
Beretta'd be a good one.
All right.
But yeah, if you're looking for more O-line stuff, O-line committee on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, check it out. Weekly film breakdowns, NFL, mostly NFL-centric stuff going around the league. Myself, Alex Boone. So go check it out over on YouTube if you're interested.
Get to hear Sirle's sexy voice.
Kind of mostly Minnesota Vikings centric.
It has a lot of Vikings centric, but we have a lot of like Eagles fans, Detroit fans. Like we're kind of spread out. The teams that did really well this year liked us because we broke their plays down, so that was helpful.
Tell me the Saints didn't want to see a lot of play breakdowns from the show.
Listen, like we always kind of use the like, would you rather do something or watch like a Titans Saints game on Thursday Night Football? Right, like that's always kind of like the would you rather. It's like I don't know if I want to watch that game.
I can tell you, Grant is watching that game.
But didn't miss a single Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, you put out kind of bets on it too.
All right, we'll talk to you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed this one. Give us your feedback, like the video, all the good stuff. We'll see you in a bit.
Go Big Red.